This video is probably about the most important part of teaching and learning, and that's understanding the learners. And it covers chapters 1.6, 12.9, and 12.10 in my book. The aim of the 12 videos is to provide a brief introduction to the main themes in the book. The book is free and online through BC Campus. That's the URL. You're free to use the book in your teaching, or you can use it with students in your class if that's of value to you. And it's arranged through the use of through BC Campus, who provide the servers and have an open textbook project of which this is a part. This particular video is understanding students, and covers chapters 1.6, 12.9 and 12.10. What we've seen in higher education over the years is a move from elite to mass higher education. At one time, it was a very small number of students from usually wealthy families that went to university. Nowadays, we're increasingly getting more and more students coming in. And as a result, there's a much greater diversity of students these days. They vary in age. We're seeing many more lifelong learners coming in, for instance. They varying much more in social class. Some of them are part-time. Even if they're full-time, they may be working part-time to help pay their way through university. The ethnicity of students is increased considerably. Students come from different ethnic groups. Students come with different language abilities. Many may be immigrants or children of immigrants. For instance, we have students with different levels of digital literacy, and we have increasingly, certainly in Canada, many more international students. So we have this lovely mix of diversity in our students now. However, that means students learn at different speeds in different ways. And that's a big challenge, particularly if class sizes are large. And we really should be trying to make sure that all our students succeed. So how do we provide the flexibility and the ability to adapt to each of the different students' needs? And this is where technology comes in particularly useful. One market I particularly want to focus on is the lifelong learning market. In Canada, 33% of all post-secondary students are 24 years or older. And that proportion is going up slowly each year. One reason is because of demographics. Students in an age cohort are either stable or declining slightly. But more and more students are coming back to university, or coming to university who may not have got a degree later in life. And so the number and percentage of lifelong learners is going up steadily. Also, that's being driven by a changing job market where students having to learn new skills after they've left university. Many of these lifelong learners already have a degree or a college diploma. For instance, we have an Institute of Technology in Vancouver where more than half the students are university students coming in to a college of technology to get further qualifications, for instance. There's a demand for different qualifications now amongst the lifelong learners. They don't want to go back and do a whole degree again. They've probably done that already, but they do want recognition for any further studies that they've been doing. So they're looking for different kinds of qualifications, and in particular, what are called stackable micro-credentials. So if they just do one course, say on project management, which they need for their job, they can get a badge or a certificate for that, and they can then add further courses as they go, which could build to, say, eventually a master's degree. And most of these lifelong learners are working. They have families and they need flexibility in their studies. They need to be able to study at home when they're not working, or when they're looking after family and so on. So they need flexible delivery of learning. Online learners need the flexibility of anytime, anywhere learning. And they study somewhat differently. They study in chunks. After dinner, when the kids have gone to bed, when they're traveling on the bus, weekends and so on. And if you're not careful, it can be a very lonely way of studying. Students need strong connections with instructors and other students. And above all, they need self-discipline, independent learning. They have to take responsibility for their own learning. Now, fortunately, independent learning is a skill that can be taught, and it's a very important skill because we want students to go on learning after they graduate from our programs. So we should be building that in as one of the skills that we're trying to inculcate in students when they're with us. So what are the implications for teaching? Well, first of all, we have to provide learning that can be accessed at any time and anywhere. We need lots of activities for students, particularly if they're not in front of us in a face-to-face class, things they can do at home on their own. We need to allow for different pace learning. Given the diversity of students, some students will learn more quickly and others more slowly. So we need to provide the opportunity for students who may learn more slowly to spend more time perhaps studying at the times that they have available. We need flexible scheduling of teaching, as much asynchronous teaching as possible. In other words, students don't have to be at a particular place or at a particular time, as they can study at any spare moment that they have. And increasingly, we need to network between instructors and students and amongst students themselves to break down their isolation when working alone. And there's a little graphic here showing online collaborative learning. Each of the yellow is a student. Each of those students is separate from all the others, but they're linked online in different study groups and to the instructor as well, and to the teacher as well. Further implications for teaching, we need to create online learning environments. That's more than just a set of readings, but a whole course in a box, if you like. We call these learning management systems or virtual learning environments. Examples are Blackboard, Canvas, Moodle, Desire to Learn. And what these learning environments do, they enable you to structure your learning for students who may not be coming to campus every week. It allows for asynchronous learning where students can log in whenever they want to, access learning materials and do activities at any time. They can access content through the learning management system. They've got secure online discussion forums, and that's very important. This is not like social media where anybody can jump in. It's a closed environment like a classroom. It just happens to be online. And also you can get assessment through the learning management system. And students need a structure. They need flexibility, but also deadlines. They need to know when they have to do things by. They need to know what they need to do each week. So they need that kind of structure. And the learning management system can provide that structure of weekly activities and assignment dates. And you need to manage the student workload. I recommend 8 to 10 hours per week per course. That's probably, often online students can only manage 2 or 3 courses at the most at any one time. So again, you need flexibility in the program so that students can take longer to graduate. And the other really important thing for specifically online learners, but for any kind of learner really, is for the instructor to communicate with other students. So you set clear student expectation and tasks. You might want to have an optional or an extra unit on how to study online to get them going, or how to study in a blended mode. Use discussion forums so that students can connect with each other, and also you be present in those forums Try to respond within 1 to 2 working days if students send you emails and so on, so they know you're around and that you're caring about them. Set up online group work, for instance, for collaborative learning to give students a sense of being part of a community, even though it's online. And look at formative assignments, because you can track the students' work and you can see how they're progressing over time. So different students will have different needs. You need to provide learning in different modes as well, in different medias. Some students like to read a lot. Some students prefer to listen to lectures. So you need to mix and match different ways of teaching, and this is what the book goes into. You'll find that young, less experienced students need a campus structure and need the campus environment, but older lifelong learners need flexibility of fully online learning. And some of the younger students are working part-time and they need a blended learning, a mix of online and campus. And the mix of online and face-to-face will also depend on the subject matter, what works best. And there's another module, another set of chapters on that in the book. So if you want more information on this topic, it's there in the book, which is available from this website. And the next video will be on theories of learning. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.